So basically, I hold the position that actually vegans are bad people.
Wait, but sorry, I'm confused. Who am I talking to? Who's Haz?
I'm an infrared show on Twitch, Haz. I got 2,000 viewers right now. I'm extremely famous. If you don't know about me now, you're gonna know about me very soon. I'm an undefeated debater. Never been defeated once.
Okay.
I was gonna give you some insight. Hogan ran away from Haz, which is really funny. So there's that.
Ran away from him?
Hogan did.
Hogan, New American Left. You ever heard of New American Left?
Of course I know Hogan. I just doesn't sound like him to run away. So what? You wanted to talk about something? You want to debate something?
Debate.
Debate. Okay. Well, and what do you want to debate?
Vegans are bad people.
You hold the view that vegans are bad people.
Yes.
And what does bad mean?
Vegans are bad people because they think animals and humans on the same level.
So I don't think that quite answered the question. So you gave a reason why you think people are bad.
Yeah, they're bad human beings.
Setting aside whether that's true, I don't think that answers the original question of what you actually mean when you say bad. What's bad mean?
I'm basically right now relying on common sense. So what are you actually asking me right now? Are you asking me to give you some kind of ethical system? What are you asking me?
What I'm asking you is just what you mean by bad, but it sounds like you're asking like, what is the reason I'm asking you about that?
Yeah, like when someone says someone's a good or bad person, we tend to actually know what they mean by that, right?
I feel like we're jumping all over the place. You had asked me a question a second ago.
Yeah.
And I was going to try to... You're going to have to forgive me. I'm a little bit high at the moment. You asked why I'm asking about badness?
I'm asking you if you're asking me to propose some kind of ethical or moral system within which good and bad are going to be defined in an airtight kind of axiomatic way.
When you say moral system, do you mean like a normative ethic, like deontology or like utilitarianism? Or
yeah, whatever you want.
No, okay, sorry. So yeah, there's some confusion. What I'm asking is more of like a meta-ethical question, like what is badness itself?
You're asking what is bad.
Yeah, and you probably want to understand the reason why I'm asking it. I'm not really like a realist about morality. When I do moral talk, I'm usually just talking about my preference. And if you are engaged in some kind of like anti-realist moral talk, you might be saying something that I think is true when you say vegans are bad people.
It's not a matter of a preference. When I say vegans are bad people, right? When I am making this statement to you, a person I don't know, obviously what I'm trying to say is that from the perspective of a reasonable moral agent, there's an intuitive sense that you have an idea of what I'm saying. Now, to clarify, in ordinary language, when human beings communicate to one another that this person's a good person, this person's a bad person, they actually aren't making any philosophical claims whatsoever. They're relying upon unwritten, implicit understanding that doesn't make any kind of philosophical claims. What most people call philosophy, let's say analytic philosophy or something. If I communicate to you in an airtight, absolutely consistent way to verify my positive claim that vegans are bad, when I approach it in this kind of mechanical way where I'm breaking down everything and putting it into an airtight box, I am not actually exhausting the full breadth of what those words actually mean. I'm isolating them and putting them into a box. It's almost kind of like we're programming a computer. So when I'm talking, right, I'm not here to help you program a computer. I'm here to... Well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe you are not able to understand this kind of implicit understanding. So when I say this person's a good person, this person's a bad person, maybe you kind of just register this at like a computer. You just think like, oh, what is bad? What is good? When someone says good or bad in an ordinary context, they're not actually making reference to the concept relevant to philosophy. Philosophy does something that fundamentally betrays our ordinary use of language.
I guess that all I would say is I'm not sure what the concept is supposed to be when you say bad if it doesn't cash out in one of the kind of ways that
because bad is not simply a concept. It's more than what philosophers will attempt to draw out of it. Remember, 99% of people don't care about philosophy and never will. The way they convey that is by a means...
Why you gotta hate on philosophy?
It's the truth.
I'm just fucking around. Sorry, continue.
Sure, yeah. In that sense, there is no way to get rid of what is unwritten. There's some kind of unwritten, non-negotiable level of mutual understanding. When you remove this from the equation, all meaningful communication breaks down.
Are you suggesting that our natural language communication is rich in a way that's going to be hard for philosophers to capture?
Not hard, but impossible.
Okay, I think that I could, for the sake of argument, just grant something like that. I could just grant that we can't, like, perfectly capture our natural language meaning. If we try to like write down exactly what a word means, you want to say that moral language terms like bad are not kind of words that you can just define straightforwardly like that. Apparently it can't even be conveyed in voice actually on your view or in a voice chat. That could be the case. Maybe you do have an understanding of what bad means that's rich in such a way that you need to do like some intense work to convey it. And all I would say to that is like, okay, you're welcome to, and like whenever you do, we can like have conversations that involve that word, but until then we're kind of like at a bit of a standstill.
Okay, I'll try to simplify things to speed it along. Okay, my belief is that we both, whether you admit it or not, have an idea of what it means to be a good person or a bad person.
Can I cut in?
No, hold on, not yet.
Correction?
Not yet. We may not agree upon that, and we may have differing philosophical perspectives on the meaning of bad and good and moral realism and anti-realism, and it's just reducible. It doesn't matter. There is some kind of good or bad, and its content, right, is what I'm here to debate about. There's no need to fucking open this semantic black hole. If I say, for example, vegans are bad people, it would be more reasonable for you to respond by saying, no, I disagree. I think vegans are actually good people. And then maybe we could begin from there.
I guess I don't understand what the point is you're trying to make. The point that you came in with originally is contrary to what vegans say, they're bad people. Now I'm saying I don't understand what you mean when you're saying that because I don't know what you mean by bad.
I don't think that's why. I think maybe you don't understand why I'm saying that because you don't know why I'm ascribing vegans with the quality of badness. It's not that you don't know what I mean by bad. It's that you probably just don't know why I'm saying vegans are bad people.
No, I don't know what you mean when you use the word bad.
No, I think you do. I think you do. Just a question. You're in a room with someone. He points to a guy and say, that guy's a bad person. You don't know what he means.
I could venture a guess.
No, but you wouldn't be, functionally speaking, you don't know what he means. You can't engage with that whatsoever.
Well, yeah, so I'm basically agnostic about public moral language.
I asked you a simple question. You're in a room with a guy, he said, that guy's a bad person. You said, I'm agnostic about moral language. But functionally speaking, you couldn't possibly be an agnostic. You say you're agnostic, but in practice, you wouldn't be a fucking agnostic. You would actually act and communicate with that person as though you know what they were talking about. And if you're incapable of that, then you must live in a computer and you live on Discord. You don't actually live in the real human world.
Sorry, I'm just laughing a little at some of the philosophy people in text. So let me just remember what we're talking about. No, I don't have a view about exactly what that language means, but I kind of interpret it in that way, and that seems to like get me by.
You live in the computer?
Please, come on.
Yeah, so we could have actually, if you would have let me interrupt you, we could have actually made this a lot faster. This is just what you tell yourself when you look at the matter from an intellectual perspective, because maybe it poses some kind of inconsistency or contradiction to your intellectual belief.
I think that people have a commonplace notion, but I think that the commonplace notion is ambiguous. I think that philosophers have different views about what's going on there.
Philosophers do, yes.
I'm not entirely sure how that language cashes out.
Well, since you're incapable of debating, there's a guy named DE who's just bragging about how stupid he is, so I'd love for him to get in the VC and maybe he'll debate.
Yeah, I'm happy to pass it to Josh. He's a good debater. He knows a lot of philosophy, but
you are fucking kid.
Okay.
Oh my god.
I don't even know what he's on about today.
So I mean I've seen you've conceded the debate, so that's okay. We can go debate this time.
Did you say I have or he has?
Yeah, no, you have.
I don't think that I've changed my view on any.
Well, I've explained to you why when you ask me the question, what is good or what is bad, it's a meaningless question. It's not only a question that can't be answered, it's actually a meaningless question.
Okay, wait, so there's two problems there. You're saying the question is meaningless and you're saying it can't be answered. So
yeah.
Let's start with can't be answered.
Well, I've already explained to you why it can't be answered. It can't be answered because in order for me to properly convey to you the real meaning of good or bad, I have to introduce you to a world. I have to raise you as an infant and expose you to society. It'd be like you're asking me to cure you of a mental illness. I can't do that in a Discord VC.
The reason that we can't discuss the proposition is because we don't share a meaning.
No, I think we do and you're lying about it.
Oh, okay. I
think most people can see you're just trying to avoid the debate because you're scared to debate about it. You're just lying. You're hiding behind what is your concept of... You know what I mean when I say they're bad people. You mean I'm trying to say they ain't shit, they terrible people, they're bad people. It's very clear. You're really lying here. And that's okay. I'm happy to move on to someone who will actually debate me if you won't.
What I don't want is a suggestion that I'm not willing to debate. I'm happy to.
No, that's self-evident. You've already demonstrated you're not willing to debate. debate. You've demonstrated that to everyone.
I'm here right now.
You're here, but you're not debating. You're just running a loop because you don't actually want to debate about anything.
I don't think you know the contents of my mind.
Yeah, well, I think it's pretty clear to everyone.
Can we agree on the following? We agree that we can't have conversation.
Because you don't want to.
Well, no, because we don't share an understanding.
No, we do share an understanding.
So your position is just that you think that I'm lying. Say that there is some person who doesn't know what you mean.
I would assume they are not raised in a human society and I can't actually have any meaningful discussion
say
with
that
them.
they are.
Then they would. They would know what I mean.
Wait,
I would
you
assume
say
they're
that-
lying. I would assume they're lying then.
Is it necessary that they be lying?
Yes.
And what's the contradiction if they don't lie?
It's not just logically necessary, it is actually necessary. If it were not true, we would be living in a different reality.
There's two things you said. One of them is logical necessity. The other is what's actual. If by necessary you just end up meaning actual, you're just begging the question by restating the very claim I'm not convinced of. So that'll be a bad line.
So I'm glad you finished your sentence. All you did was embarrass yourself and waste my time by doing it. But here's the thing. If that's what's begging the question, even if I were to grant you fucking that, why the fuck would you ask me, well, if the contrary were to be true, what would be the contradiction? Why would you ask me that if I wasn't making pretense to logical consistency, but actual reality itself? Why would you even ask me that? You just fucking made a clown of yourself.
Well, obviously, because I thought you were talking about logical necessity. If your gotcha is to say, why would you ask me to show a contradiction if I'm not even talking about logical necessity? Obviously, the answer is because I thought...
Why would you assume I'm talking about logical necessity?
I'd have to backtrack in the conversation to see if I actually assumed logical necessity or if I gave different options.
Did you not just admit you assumed logical necessity?
Come on.
If you just were to fucking talk like a human being engaging in the ordinary use of language, it would be even more clear what I'm saying. But you have to draw out the fine details of the distinction between actuality and necessity, all of the different modalities, which is completely fucking pointless and unnecessary. This is why I'm accusing you of lying. You are trying to avoid actually debating me about the meat and potatoes content of what is under dispute. You're a fucking sophist.
I guess I don't know what modality it would be necessary.
Wait. It's necessary in all modalities. Every single one.
That includes logical necessity, which you've said it isn't the case. That's actually your first contradiction.
No, it's not actually, because I already told you. Even if I were to entertain it from the perspective of logical necessity, which I wasn't, I was not making claims about logical necessity. But from the perspective of logical necessity, I'm also correct. So no, there's no contradiction.
If you're saying it's logically necessary, I am going to ask you what contradiction is entailed.
They have a sense of what the word means, and yet they claim they don't know what I mean when I say it.
So the contradiction is that they know what the word means, and it's not the case that they know what the word means?
Sure.
Technically, the way you said it, it wasn't actually a contradiction.
Why?
Because to be a contradiction needs to be something that you want it to actually, for instance, propositional logic, generate a truth table that's false.
It's not true. That's not true. That's a very narrow view of what contradiction means. That's a dogma of analytic philosophy. That doesn't premise the use of the word contradiction across the history of humanity before people gave a shit about analytic philosophy. The fucking 20th century. Please shove your truth tables up your fucking ass.
I take a contradiction to be
because you're a computer.
A statement that's going to either directly
because you live in a
be
computer.
or a statement of the form P and not P.
Yeah, and suck my pee. You're wasting my time.
If you think that doing philosophy is wasting your time, we don't have to.
You're not doing philosophy, you're doing computer nerd shit. Is this the result of the vegan diet? This is how you think and argue?
If you're not going to be at all serious, I
am 100% serious. I wonder if you just had some chicken nuggets or you had a steak, you'd be able to fucking argue like a man and actually talk to me like a human being. I am actually curious if this is the result of the vegan diet, and it bolsters my point that vegans are fucking bad people. You've lost touch with humanity so much that you can't even fucking argue about anything without breaking down everything in this whole mathematical way. You are a bad person.
Is this a kind of troll?
No. You are genuinely a bad person for lying about your actual position.
Okay, so the contradiction isn't that the person knows this proposition is true and doesn't know that it's true, right? Contradiction is something else. I misspoke. Knows what bad means and doesn't know what... I misspoke again. Knows what you mean by bad and doesn't know what you mean by bad.
The nature of the realities. The nature of the... Sorry. Malfunction. Sorry. Cannot compute. Sorry. This is how you break the robot, guys.
Sorry. Now, I find it really difficult.
Sorry.
Do you want to have a serious conversation or not?
I've literally been trying, and you did what? Sorry. Why don't you let me finish what I'm trying to say?
Because before you started a massive over-talking competition, I had something to say about what you said. God knows what the fuck that was. I can't deal with you being this, like...
Because you're low energy, you're not a good debater. People told me you're a tough debater. You're fucking weak.
Are you gonna let me speak or not?
Low energy. Low testosterone from no meat
I
diet.
have no desire to run at all.
Sounds like you want to run away. Just like the little furry animals run away from hunters. You're running away like a bunny run away from a hunter.
It's you ending the conversation.
No, it's not. You are. You're conceding to me.
No, I'm putting an ultimatum to you.
Yeah, well, you can put an ultimatum to leave the boxing ring, but you concede, you forfeit. You've been running. You want to run away, that's okay. Make whatever excuses you want. Call it an ultimatum. You're making excuses.
Can you actually commit not to never interrupting? You're welcome to interrupt, but to giving me enough space to actually communicate my ideas.
Can you define the parameters with which we will be able to judge doing that? Is there a neutral judge who's going to decide that?
I think that but I think that we can give each other. I think that even without a perfect standard, I'm asking for a bit longer than you're currently giving. Do you understand what a bit longer means?
Please define it. I don't understand the meaning. Please define it.
Take it that you're trolling.
No, I'm not trolling. How can you say that? In a hypothetical world where I was not trolling, is that logically consistent?
Part of me wants to respond.
Please do it.
Please stop. Okay. Earlier I said I'm not convinced you're obfuscating. Now I'm leaning towards I think you are kind of obfuscating.
So you're conceding.
So can I get a little more room? I think we know what a little more room is.
Well, actually, philosophers disagree about the nature of time. Longer can actually mean many things in philosophy. Longer can, for example, mean something at a scale of thousands of years.
Provide your meaning. I'm probably fine with it. What do you typically mean when you say longer?
Typically, longer will refer to a quantitatively greater sum of time.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. That's what I mean. Okay, so
I'll give you 1 second, 1 millisecond.
Okay, you are kind of funny, but you're fucking annoying though, dude.
You're gonna cry?
I don't think so.
So why do I care?
I mean, you only care about things I cry about? Or?
I care about defeating you and destroying you utterly. I am going to have victory over you.
Are you going to give me more time to speak?
I don't know what you mean. Back to the debate. Why is it that you can ask me for more time, but I can tell you...
Stop dodging, please.
So you concede this point. What makes what you're asking me any different from what I told you about good and bad?
How do people, deal with this?
I don't know. How do they deal with it? When you ask me for more time, you're asking for the same thing. How do I know what you mean? What do you mean by that?
I'm using your concept.
More time, yeah. I give you 1 more millisecond. That is a qualitatively greater. How long do you want?
So that's the hard thing, because I don't think it works like that, where it's like a flat time limit.
Why not? So you can't define it? It's meaningless then. Do you accept, do you affirm that it's meaningless?
It's impossible to talk to. Do you want to have an actual philosophical conversation, or do you just want to be a fuckhead?
I'm here to conquer you.
Well, not to be a dick, but you're getting fucking wrecked. I'm just going to ask this one more time, and if I hear anything other than just a clear answer, that will be it for me. Can you give me a reasonable amount of time to speak if we return to the subject? Yes or no?
I'm making fun of you because you're a ridiculous person.
Okay, so that's going to be the end of my discussion.
Okay, I accept your defeat. I accept your defeat.